Can you all see my screen as well?
Yes,
Yes.
Prabhuji, it's visible.
Okay, good. So today we will go through chapter 2. So I planned in a little different way. We'll not go through verses this time. Instead, we'll first summarize the contents, learn some practical lessons, and next week we'll just quickly go through the verses. That way, we have the background behind you, and so you know how the flow is. It becomes easy to see it in a practical light instead of just going section by section. Okay, we'll start chapter 2. So just to quickly recap, chapter 1 we discussed last week. It has primarily 4 sections. The first section is called Preparation for War, where we saw Duryodhana and the words of Sanjaya, Duryodhana and Dhritarashtra encouraging their army. Primarily, the practical lesson for us is we discussed about Duryodhana. The word literally means a bad warrior. In the war of life, all of us have to be a good warriors. What do you mean by good warrior? If you look at the life of Duryodhana and his brothers, they put, if you remember from last week's discussion, they put pleasures or principles. So in our life, we should always put principles over pleasure. That's the lesson we can take away from that. And then we discussed the signs of victory for Pandavas, various symbols, signals that signify the victory for Pandavas. We'll not discuss the details. The practical lesson from the signs of victory is that when we see this world through the eyes of scriptures, that's where true victory is. True victory is not in the material result of success or failure in this world. If you consider like that, Prabhupada's mission was initially a big failure in Jhansi and other things, but he was never disappointed by those initial failures because he knows he was trying his best for Krishna. So the real signs of victory should be when we see everything in our life through the eyes of the scriptures. They are the right guide for us. And in that sense, if we lead our life, every phase of our life, every incident of our life is actually a sign of true victory. Then we discussed about Krishna as Bhaktavatsala. So when we face challenges in our life, we should not doubt whether Krishna existed. Instead, understand that everything is an arrangement for our own purification, for our own elevation. So challenges also come in our life according to our current consciousness. And then finally, we saw how Arjuna declined to fight. After all these situations happened, Arjuna asked Krishna to take the chariot right before, in between the two warring parties. And Krishna takes the chariot right in between the two armies. At the exactly right before his guru and grandfather, Bhishma, Drona and Bhishma. At that time, looking at the face of these stalwarts, Arjuna loses his composure. His Gandiva falls off his hands, and he reasons why he doesn't want to fight. He gives reasons now. The first reason was he expresses his compassion. He doesn't want to fight and see the bodies of his, uh, or you can say, his grandfather and his relatives die in this situation in his hands. He doesn't want to. He sees the. He expresses his compassion for the body of his relatives, and then he expresses that there is no enjoyment in killing our own relatives, because if we kill all of them, what is the point? We don't have anybody to enjoy in this life with. Loss of enjoyment, right? Generally, I will discuss that our joy really comes from the envy of others in the material world. If others praise us because of what we have in the sense of material things, that's when the false ego gets enjoyment. So this is also a kind of Arjuna's misunderstanding of what is real enjoyment. He was actually thinking on the bodily platform. He thinks that his joy is there only when his relatives and everybody praises him for the achievements. And then fear of sinful reactions. He doesn't want to kill his, he thinks that it's going to cause sin by killing his own relatives. But actually, the people who he is killing, Duryodhana and all, they are the worst of the sinful aggressors. They did, we discussed Draupadi's disrobing and attempts to kill them in many ways, Pandavas. So those are all very. Those people are all aggressors. There is no sin in killing them. And then destruction of family traditions. So these are the reasons Arjuna poses for why he doesn't want to fight, and he instead proposes that I would rather go to forest and do begging profession. He is so disgusted about the thought of fighting. He wants to just give up his duties and just run away to forest and take up begging, because he's a kshatriya. If he cannot rule a village, the only option is he has to go to begging. So that's where the chapter ends. So Arjuna continues further discussion in chapter 2. He expresses further, and finally he becomes indecisive in life. He doesn't know. He's totally confused. In spite of being the greatest warrior in the world of the time, with all material capabilities in his possession, with all the blessings of seniors, he becomes indecisive in life. That exactly represents the conditioned life of all the jivas in this world. And so, in chapter 2, we discuss the final. Arjuna gives the final reason why he doesn't want to fight. He is indecisive. At this point, Krishna, I do not know whether to fight or not. And but one good thing he does is immediately he surrenders to Krishna. He seeks his guidance. Karpanya dosho pahata swabhava, that verse. So he finally surrenders to Krishna at this point. From this, what we can learn from the confusion of Arjuna, we can learn that we all go through situations in life that cause a lot of perplexities, and without a right guidance, we will be uh, left clueless. And so, time and again, we need good counsel, guidance in life, because the material problems are created at material consciousness, and these cannot be solved at the material consciousness. We need spiritual consciousness to solve material problems. And this goes similar to the statement of Einstein. He said, a problem cannot be solved at the consciousness at which it is created. So we all need transcendental knowledge, knowledge beyond the origin of material, uh, beyond the perception of material senses. The, the question is why we need transcendental knowledge. So transcendental knowledge, so this is in detail discussed in chapter 2. When we discuss the verses, we'll get to there in next week. So here I'm going to just give an idea in prose. Why we need transcendental knowledge? The transcendental knowledge helps us make a right decision moment to moment. Why we need to study Gita? Same reason. And where do we find this transcendental knowledge? It is in Vedas. Vedas, the word Veda literally means knowledge, true knowledge. Vedas is a composition of all the knowledge that we need in this world for our existence. Just like an alphabet, if you want to learn a language, right? First thing you need to learn is the alphabet, A, B, C, D, to the 26 letters. Once you learn the alphabet, you can learn words. Once you learn words, you can construct lines, sentences. Once you have sentences, you can form paragraphs. Once you have paragraphs, you can write essays, you can write chapters, books, right? So the foundation is the alphabet. So the foundation of transcendental knowledge is the 5 primary subjects, which is Ishvara, Jiva, Prakriti, Kala, and Karma. So who is Ishvara? The supreme controller of everything that exists, that we can see and not see. The supreme possessor, controller, enjoyer of everything is Ishvara. Jiva is all of us, the part and parcel of the supreme controller. All the living entities fall in this category. And Prakriti, both material nature and spiritual nature. We need to understand. So we need transcendental knowledge. And these primary subjects, who is God, who am I, what is this nature, how does this work, how does this material nature work, what are the 3 modes of material nature, and beyond the 3 modes of material nature, what exists beyond the 3 modes of material nature, beyond this material existence. What is Brahman, and what is spiritual world like? All of that comes under Prakriti, both spiritual as well as material nature. And then Kala, the time factor that drives the changes in Prakriti. And finally, Karma. Karma constitutes the activities of the Jiva. And we learn here Karma, Akarma, and Vikarma. The kind of activities that would lead us down lower and lower is Vikarma. That keep us here in this material world is Karma. And then the one that elevates us is Akarma. Right? So all these primary subjects, these are like alphabet, foundational knowledge. Once you know this, you can build on top of this. You understand your relationship with, you will prioritize your relationship with God, understand how to deal with this material world in this world, material nature in this world, and how to perform actions, right actions, right? Without knowing how to perform actions in this world, we may still entangle us. So we need to know how to act in this world. What's the right consciousness in which we should act? So this is discussed. So in summary, I'm just giving an overview of entire Bhagavad Gita. So chapter 1 really deals with problem definition. All of us, Arjuna is just a sample, but all of us are going through perplexities in life. What is the real perplexity? What is the problem of Arjuna in this conversation of Bhagavad Gita? His real problem is Dehatma Buddhi. What is Dehatma Buddhi? Deha means body, Atma means the soul. One who considers his body to be the soul, the essence, body to be the essence, is considered a person in Dehatma Buddhi. Everybody is primarily thinking that he is this body, and so everything in relationship with this body, he creates attachments to them. And so all the reasoning, actions, thinking of Arjuna is around that. That's the whole summary of chapter 1. Arjuna is expressing how confused, how material, how how his Dehatma Buddhi influenced his thought process when he faced complexity in life or perplexity in life. So similarly, when we lead our life in this world, okay, so when we lead our life, situations in our life will bring out Dehatma Buddhi in us. If we are not aware of the spiritual knowledge, if we don't have spiritual knowledge, we don't have spiritual vision. When we don't have spiritual vision, we go through the same confusion, perplexity that Arjuna had gone through in the chapter 1, right? But Arjuna found shelter in Krishna. He immediately surrendered after becoming completely indecisive. He surrendered to Krishna and took his guidance. So then, chapter 2 begins with Krishna's explanation of the summary of the whole wisdom. So, chapter 2 is like the summary in abstract format. He discusses all the solutions in brief, in short. Then, just like a good teacher, right? When he first comes, he first defines the problem. Unless you know the problem properly, what happens if you don't have definition of the problem correct? All your solutions, all your endeavors to solve the problem are completely misdirected, right? So just like a good teacher, Krishna lets Arjuna go through this uh, problematic state of mind, and he summarizes the solution in chapter 2 in a short format, and in chapters 3 to 5 he discusses the solution. So up to chapter 17 is again 3 to 17 is solution. He explains karma yoga, how to act in the right consciousness, how to act in this world while living in this material world. And then he discusses dhyana yoga, how to meditate and perfect your life in chapter 6. And in detail he explains bhakti and how to progress in the path of bhakti yoga in chapters 7 to 12, the crux of the entire Gita. And finally, he discusses also about Jnana Yoga. Because you are in this material world, you need the knowledge to live in this world. By 12th, it's almost like Bhagavad Gita has done, but he continues to discuss further because the Jiva is living in this material world. He needs to know how to deal with this. So he discusses that. And again, like a good teacher, he summarizes this contents again and asks Arjuna, did you hear what I said in summary, with concentration? And Arjuna says, yes, and I will do what you said. I I revived my memory. Nastamoho smritir labdha. I got my memory back. And karishe vachanam tava. I'm going to perform my duties. So he's fixed up again. In first chapter, towards the end, we saw Arjuna lost his determination to fight. He put his Gandiva bow down and said, what? I'm not going to fight. Now in chapter 18, I think it's 57th verse. No, sorry, 72. O conqueror of wealth, have you heard this attentively with your mind? And are your illusions and ignorance now dispelled? Krishna asked this question. In answer, Arjuna says, Nashtamoha smritirlabdha tvaprasadam mayuchyata sthitosmi gata sandeha karishye vachanam tava. Arjuna said, My dear Krishna, O infallible one, my illusion is now gone. I have regained my memory by your mercy, and I am now firm and free from doubt, and I am prepared to act according to your instructions. Right? Perfect. So Arjuna's state of mind completely transformed, and he is now ready to fight. So that's the entire chapter division. Now we'll discuss in detail. Yeah, we discuss this. So what's the problem with Dehatma Buddhi? This is the real problem of all of us, in this material world. Everybody is thinking they are this body. And so what happens? When you think that you are this body, you got your problem statement wrong. Naturally, you set wrong goals. You assume wrong responsibilities. Like somebody wants to fight for independence, somebody wants to fight for nationalism, somebody wants to fight for protecting this, that, animals, rights, whatever, right? So many isms come out. Why? Because of what? They think that they are this body, right? So that's the source of all the problems. So we need to get the problem definition right. Otherwise, we act in ignorance due to material attachments in this world. Just like, uh, you know, in if you have children at your home, you would have seen children sometimes they use these cooking toys to cook and serve, right? They spend a lot of time and they're so emotional. They try to feed the baby with the food they cook. Uh, and if you try to, you know, do any mischief, like pull in, take away any of their cooking or anything, they become mad because they are emotionally surcharged in that, playing cooking game, right? They don't want to uh, be disturbed. So uh, similarly, when we actually deal in this material world, in the consciousness of Dehatma Buddhi, we go through so much emotional turmoil, uh, thinking of wrong, assuming wrong responsibilities and wrong goals. Go through so much of anxieties, thinking that this money is mine, this job is mine, this position is mine. Uh, what others think if we lose this? These are all Dehatma Buddhi. We have nothing to do with anything with this material world. We are actually completely spiritual in nature. Because we assume this body, we have certain duties, but they are not the primary things. So just like children get immersed in their playing cooking toys, we also get immersed in the Dehatma Buddhi. And when children really become hungry, will they eat what they cook? If you ask them, "Oh, you already cooked, right? You eat what you cooked. You don't need to, ask mommy to serve you." What do they say? What do they say? Anybody?
They will actually serve for us in a plate and make us eat.
That happens, of course, yeah. But actually, when they become hungry, they can't be satisfied with what they cooked, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So they would again ask mommy to serve them what's the whatever is cooked for the day. So similarly, when real perplexities come, we turn to, some of us at least turn to, I mean, some people turn to alcoholism or other drug addictions. But those who have some kind of sanity, they would turn to spirituality. That's when they will. That's where they will find the real solution. So I mean, the point is, uh, this world is a temporary world. Everything is an illusory arrangement. Because we wanted to enjoy in this world, everything is arranged by Lord. Just like we buy cooking toys for kids so that they can play with them. Similarly, all these arrangements, you know, are temporary arrangements made by Lord, so that we can, when we feel dissatisfied, we turn to Him seriously and seek His shelter. So the idea is not to deny material. We cannot just deny. Oh, I have nothing to do with this world. This world is a place, is an arrangement of Lord also, right? So it's a it's an arrangement for our purification. But understand that the worldly responsibilities, they are not the primary. Our primary responsibility is towards achieving self-realization in this existence, right? That's the primary lesson. So we understood problem definition in chapter 1. We understood also from this summary, we understand why Jiva suffers in this world. And how Bhagavad Gita's wisdom helps solve these problems is, it gives us the real identity, who you are, what's your relationship with Lord, who is Lord, and what's your relationship with Lord. And once you understand the relationship, it gives the process we discussed from chapter 3 to chapter 17 is in-depth discussion of various process to yoga. Yoga means use. It comes from the root word use. Use means connection. How to revive your swarupa through various spiritual processes. And finally achieve the self-realization. Right? So this is the, in summary, the wisdom shared in Bhagavad Gita by Lord Krishna to us. So in summary, this is chapter 2 summary in 4 letters. Chapter, if you can easily remember, that's why I put it like this. It's an acronym created by a devotee. So G stands for Guru. Okay, just like Arjuna surrendered to Krishna, one should surrender to a Guru, a bona fide Guru. That's when real solution comes. Why? Because material problems, perplexities of this world cannot be solved at material consciousness. One may ask, why not have? There are so many coaches. There are so many self-help books. Why can't we deal with that? Why can't we? Why do we need a guru? Anybody want to answer? Why do we need a guru?
Because they are self-realized, and only through Guru we can approach Krishna. We can't directly access Krishna.
Okay.
Because Guru sees everything through scriptures.
Yeah, that is true. But this guy is in perplexities of this world. Why can't he solve through self-help books or some other like personality development coaches? There are so many coaches to fix your confusions, mental psychologists. All these people are there. This guy is confused, so why can't he get it fixed?
But those books are not based on scriptures. They are their own interpretations of their own versions.
But still, everything acts under the bodily platform.
Yes. The problems of material body cannot be solved. They cannot be solved with material wisdom. Yes. The real problems of life. What are the real problems of life? JMJ. JMJV. Janma Mrityu Jara Vyadi. So those real problems cannot be solved without the help of a Guru. You can solve everything else through engineered solutions in this world. But Janma Mrityu Jara Vyadhi cannot be solved without a spiritual guru or spiritual master. And Bhagavad Gita, in chapter 2 primarily discusses the concept of identity. Who you are. Who do you think who you are? We'll ask, right? Somebody, if we get if we get mad at somebody, we ask, who do you think who you are? We ask, right? Because they act in weird ways. For example, I remember in India when I was going to college, we used to run to buses and catch the buses and hang over there, right? Some people in the city buses, right? So some people would push their kerchief as soon as somebody is getting down. As soon as he just stands up, this guy will put his kerchief there, and somebody is already in the line. He was just about to come and sit there, but this guy is already put his kerchief, right? And that guy comes inside, and this guy just removes the kerchief and sits there. The guy comes in and, hey, this kerchief is mine. I kept it here. Why did you remove it? And then I was going to say, oh, I saw the kerchief there. I didn't see it here. He would say that. Hey, who do you think who you are? Ask like that. Right? So you think you are a big don or like that, right? So why does that matter? Because who do you think who you are really defines your thinking, feeling, and actions, right? What you think about who you are, or if you think you are the president, you have certain thinking, certain feelings, certain uh, actions you perform, right? You have certain false identity, you can call it. Basically, who do you think who you are defines all your perception of this world. That determines it completely colors your thinking. So Krishna corrects this aspect of Arjuna right in the upfront verses of chapter 2. He tells who he is, who you are. What is our identity? Are we this body? Are we Dehatma?
We are the soul.
We are the spirit soul.
Spirit soul.
And Krishna in depth explains what is that soul like? What are its characteristics? How it is eternal? How it cannot be broken, it cannot be affected by any material conditions, and how it is always blissful. All those, the nature of the soul is given. But what is the problem in this world? We have this material body. Jiva is covered with the material body. He is not on the platform of this soul. So Krishna explains T for two dharmas, which is primarily Swadharma. And what is the other dharma? What are the two dharmas for jivas in this world? Anybody? Swadharma and Parodharma. Swadharma, because you have this body, you have certain duties in this world. You have to keep the upkeep of your body. You have to earn money, raise kids, raise family, serve parents. All these are all because you assumed a body in this world. Right? And then you have duties towards God. Why? Because you have an identity. Your true identity is not your body. You have this swadharma because of you have this physical body, but that's not your true identity. Your true identity is a soul. So you have spiritual duties. So that is the second dharma. It's called paro dharma, the dharma towards God. Right? Your duties towards God. So it explains that. And then
Prabhuji, sorry to interrupt.
Hmm.
Is Paro Dharma same as Varnashra Dharma?
Varnashrama Dharma is Swadharma. Because
Is
Varna
Swadharma.
and Ashrama define your basically your division within your human society, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and
Okay.
so it refers to Swadharma.
Yeah.
Varnashrama Dharma or Swadharma.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hmm.
So is Swadharma more focused on the body and Parodharma on the soul?
Yeah. Parodharma is our duties towards God. All of us have duties towards God. Why? Why do we have duties towards God? We all have duties towards God. The second point.
Prabhu, every soul came from the Paramatma. It's like
Yeah, because we are soul. First point, we discussed the second point, right? Because we are soul trapped in the body. So as a soul, we have duties towards super soul, right? We are not just this body. We are soul trapped in the body. So you have body, but you are primarily the soul. So you have, as a soul, you have duties towards super soul, God, because that's your eternal relation, right? But right now, for whatever reasons, you have certain material desires, so you are sent to this material world and you assumed a material body in this world, right? You assumed, so tomorrow you may assume an animal body and your duties and everything would be different. So Swadharma is a temporary basis. It varies according to your body. And so it's not the most important thing, right? But your Parodharma, which is your constitutional position as the spirit in the spirit, as the spirit in this world, is your fixed position. So your duties towards Krishna or God, that is your eternal. That's eternal, right? So Krishna, after giving the idea of identity of the jiva, the soul aspect, Atma, Atma Jnana, that's called Atma Jnana. That whole section is called Atma Jnana. So after discussing Atma Jnana, Krishna discusses about, because you are a warrior, you have to fight. Right? You are a Kshatriya. As a Kshatriya, you have to perform your duties. Right? So that's where he defines, he talks about his duties towards in this world. You also have duties towards God, which is Parodharma, because you are actually not, ultimately you are not this body, you are a spirit soul. So that aspect is discussed in two dharmas. And finally, Arjuna asks, who is a Sthita Prajna? Right? Because after discussing, Krishna explains uh, how a sage of steady mind is always peaceful in this world. Right? After discussing Swadharma and Parodharma, and then Arjuna asks, who is such a personality? And how does he sit? How does he walk? How does he behave in this world? So that section is called Sthita Prajna. Sthita Prajna Kabasha. How does such a person deal in this world? Right? So Krishna gives the blueprint of a perfect soul, perfect jiva in this world, the liberated soul. How does he behave? It's an amazing set of verses. You should all read that. Atmaram verses. Sthita Prajna. So we discussed this already. Why do we need Guru? So that we can receive Atma Jnana, right? All these other gurus, they cannot teach. The so-called teachers, or they cannot really teach us Atma Jnana. Guru can guide us transcendental knowledge. Yes. So Guru gives us Atma Jnana, and we understand that material qualifications are not sufficient to solve real problems of life. And that's why we need Guru. Yeah. So if we don't have our identity right, we keep doing mistakes again and again, right? If suppose you joined, in a job, in a company, right? But unfortunately, you are not told what your role is. You keep going to the office, and you keep trying to do something which which is never right, because you are not told what your role is in the company, right? So similarly, until the jiva understands his identity as an eternal soul, whatever actions he does are just illusory actions. We'll discuss this. And so now we discussed about two dharmas. What's the real purpose of conditional duty? We have, I defined it as conditional duty and constitutional duty, two dharmas that we all have. Swadharma or Varnashram dharma, which is because we have this human body, and we have relations, job, and all this, everything is carved around that, because we assumed this body, this body is an assumption, right, for this current time span. In the next time frame, you could be some other thing, some other body you might have, and so it's temporary, and so it's uh, it's not to be focused so much, right? It's not the ultimate thing. But parodharma, which is Krishna consciousness, that's our true identity, and actions in that identity really matter, and that is our constitutional duty.
Prabhuji,
Mhm.
one doubt.
Mm.
Paro generally means for others, right? Like paropakar, like that.
Mm.
So
Mm.
why are we referring to paro when it's coming to our duty towards the Lord?
Oh no, that's not the only meaning, Mother. Para,
Okay,
beyond, actually. The duty is
beyond.
towards the beyond. Yeah,
Okay, thank you.
yeah. Swa means towards this body, and para means the duties beyond this body. Yeah, okay. So this we discussed. And what is the purpose why we have this body? While we are in this body, the real purpose of our duties, swadharma or conditional duties, is to help us perform our constitutional duties well. Okay, so just like we do various jobs, for our living. The real purpose is not to earn money and enjoy with the money that we got. The real purpose is to help us get ourselves closer to understanding who we are, understanding who God is, revive our relationship with God, right? And that is to perform bhakti. So that is the real purpose. The conditional duty is meant to help perform constitutional duty. Constitutional duty is bhakti. Now, you see in chapter 2, Krishna clearly urges Arjuna to fight. Why he urges? Arjuna says, "Oh no, I don't want to fight. I'm done." Hmm? But he accepted Krishna as the guru, right? Because we need somebody to help make the right choice, right? We always need a guide, somebody who can tell, "Yahi hai right choice, baby," right? You heard that advertisement. Yahi hai right choice. So Krishna was that guide who helped him make the right decisions in life. Arjuna's first thing, why Arjuna was prodded by Krishna to fight. Arjuna's mind is not purified and attachments are not gone. From how do we know this? From what he talked about his consciousness in chapter 1. He expressed various reasons that clearly tells Arjuna's mind is not pure. Of course, he's a pure devotee, we know that, but at least in the circumstances, he spoke certain things which clearly shows that his mind is not pure. He is in the Dehatma platform at that point, just like all of us. It only represents us, right? The attachments are not gone. So, Krishna urges Arjuna to fight. Fight is literally duty for Arjuna, right? Fight is basically duty. As a Kshatriya, a warrior is meant to fight. He's not meant to beg, or he's not meant to give pravachan. A warrior is meant for fight. Fight to protect dharma. That's what Arjuna was reminded by Krishna. So that actually, the fight is not about getting the kingdom or not. It's not just that much. It actually is a process to purify one's mind. The conditional duties in this world are not just simply to earn our living in this world. They're actually meant to purify if we are in the right consciousness, right? If we are not profit oriented, that's what we discuss in chapter 3, Karma Yoga. They are meant to purify us when we perform our duties with the right consciousness, right? I do this duty, with the right consciousness. That actually helps us purify our mind, and also it sets a good example. Otherwise, if Arjuna runs away to forest without purifying his mind, okay, now somebody later on Krishna himself tells him, oh Arjuna, don't think that you have gone to the forest and everybody praises you for what you did. Wow, look at Arjuna, he was so detached. He doesn't want to see his relatives die in the battle, so he left in detachment. No, nobody thinks like that. Everybody thinks, hey, here is a warrior, the so-called great warrior, who who ran away in fear of fighting. Nobody thinks great about you. And when somebody says those words to you, do not think, oh, I'm in the forest, I'm now living like a sage. Because your mind is not purified, you're going to take your bow and arrow and shoot and kill that guy. You're not going to keep him alive, right? You cannot, because you're a kshatriya, you cannot give up your duties as a kshatriya, as a warrior. That's not your constitutional position. Conditional position. You would be provoked in circumstances because that's your nature. You're a warrior. You're not meant for begging. If anybody provokes you, you're going to kill him. So you have to purify your mind by performance of your duty. Don't give up fighting. And by doing your duties, you set a good example. Tomorrow, somebody will say, oh, Arjuna gave up his duty, I can also give up. That becomes a great excuse for all the generations to come because you're one of the world's well-known person. So don't set wrong examples, my dear. Stand up and fight in this war. So if we apply these principles to our life, like what Arjuna was proposing and what Krishna has answered, right? We're also in our life placed according to our karma, right? The kind of family, the kind of husband, wife, children, all of that is a perfect arrangement for our purification. The spiritual master we get, anybody, everything is a perfect arrangement of Krishna because he is Bhaktavatsala. He loves his In fact, he loves everybody. So our karmic situation is just like Arjuna was put in such state of mind to revive his memory ultimately, right? After receiving the knowledge of Krishna. He was in a Dehatma Buddhi in the beginning. He expressed his doubts in that direction. But ultimately, when Krishna gave the wisdom of Gita, right, he revived his true memory of who he is, what's his real identity, and Karishye Vachanantava, I will do what you said, Krishna. So understand that all the situations in life that we all are going through is a perfect arrangement for our purification. No other reason that we are put in this particular situations that we are in currently. And when we perform our duties in these difficult situations, the difficulties that we go through in our life, in proper Krishna consciousness, if needed under guidance, if we do it like that, it will really help us get rid of the anarthas. It will purify our mind. It will get rid of the unwanted things. If we stand up and continue to do our duties without giving them up, right? Whether it is good name or whether it is to our liking or not, it's interesting or not, doesn't matter. If we stand up, and continue with enthusiasm in performance of our conditional duties, that will help us purify our anarthas, unwanted things. So our life is like a iron molding. Have you seen how a red hot iron is molded in making different shapes? So the first aspect is there is an anvil that can hold this iron bar. Okay, that's also made of iron. A strong anvil is like a support that exists underneath, and the iron bar is kept, very hot iron bar is kept in that anvil, and with a hammer you beat it up, heavily beat it up, right? So the anvil, the support is our conditional duty, right? We all have various duties, whether you're a software engineer or a husband, wife, all these are all various conditional duties in our current deha, body. That's like our the support anvil. The hot iron bar is the jiva, right? All of us are like the hot iron bar that are meant to be molded. The hammer is the circumstances of life. Circumstances of life keep beating us, right? Sometimes you will be breathless. Sometimes it will be really painful. It's like a hammer continuously molding us to the right shape. And ultimately this is how, because to mold the jiva to proper consciousness, it requires this kind of circumstances. Without those circumstances, the jiva wouldn't be willing to change its ways, do not want to surrender. So the conditions of life are meant to take away our false ego, are meant to take away our greed, meant to take away our envy, meant to take away false prestige, meant to take away our anger, or lust. So these are all the various circumstances. They are like hammer, right? Bang, 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 bang. And then we finally change our mindset. Oh, I'm not meant to enjoy here. I'm just here to serve, right? So this is how exactly Krishna shapes our character. So be happy to undergo the blows of Krishna in life. Sometimes it's really painful, but understand Krishna is our true well-wisher. He's he's Bhaktavatsala. He is also sad that you are going through all these pains, but That's what is required to mold the iron bar. It's weirdly shaped right now. It's not in the right shape. So to mold it, it needs those beatings. So Krishna consciousness is the process to help us understand in the right perspective of all the circumstances in our life in the right consciousness, right? Yeah, so this is the real purpose of conditional duties. All the duties that we perform are meant to help us progress in our spiritual life. And once you do this,
One question, Prabhuji.
mhm,
The third letter to help get rid of our anarthas, right?
mhm,
So that one, it's a part of conditional duty. But unless and until we realize our constitutional duty, that anarthas will not happen, right? With only conditional duty, it will not happen. But
no, yeah. So that's true. So it is a combination of both. With the right mindset of constitutional duty, when we perform our conditional duty, that will help us. Yeah.
Yes.
And then the final section, Atma Rama or Sthita Prajna of chapter 2. If one does in this world, his conditional and constitutional duties perfectly, right? He serves through his body, his family, his, the society, everything, right? And then finally also connects with God and surrenders to Him and performs devotion service sincerely, then he achieves the state of Sthita Prajna. Sthita Prajna means one who is fixed in mind. Sthita Prajna, one whose intelligence is fixed. So a Sthita Prajna is a fully satisfied soul, right? That's what, when we perform Krishna consciousness sincerely, what happens? We become fully satisfied. So this is a section to read anytime you become too depressed or too joyful. Some people ask, isn't spirituality for escapists? Some people question that. Anybody wants to answer? Isn't spirituality for escapists who want to avoid their duties? Some people complain about brahmacharis like that. How do you answer based on what we discussed so far? Anybody?
That defines if somebody is asking that question means
Hmm.
that defines the level of consciousness which they have.
Yeah, but that's okay. But I just want to hear what's an answer to that question. It defines.
No.
Basically Dehatma Buddhi, right? That person.
Yeah.
He's in bodily consciousness. Yeah, that's true.
Brahmacharis actually undergo a lot of austerity than the regular people. They first of all, and if we have to link to what we discussed, they take shelter of a guru and they follow their instructions, not their own interpretation. And they know that whatever that they've learned outside is not good enough to solve their material problems.
Yes, that's the answer I was looking for. Yeah. So it's, you can give like this, right? If somebody asks, hey, you guys are, giving up why are you giving up all these things and trying to, spend all your youthful life in trying to, in spirituality, doing meditation, how does that help you? When somebody asks, we understand actually based on the wisdom of Gita and the word Gita, we understand our true identity is actually not this body. We are actually spirit soul, and we understand our duties as our conditional and constitutional duties, and we understand this material existence is temporary, nature of this world, right? The material nature of the nature of this world. And this is described in scriptures as is a raising fire, right? Samsara dava nalalida loka. If suppose there is a forest fire, would you want to stay in the forest fire or run away? You can answer like that. I mean, if there is a forest fire, it's better to run away. That shows the intelligence, isn't it? It's an intelligence decision to run away from the forest fire. So the people who are taking shelter of Krishna, performing their constitutional duties with more focus, they are more focused on the spiritual aspect of life. They're actually running away from this forest fire because they have intelligence. That's the right intelligence. Okay, there is a forest fire. Who wants to stay back like a hero? Right? Nobody wants to. It's foolishness, actually. So, the ideas of building great wealth, name, fame, and building hospitals, all these things, they are actually, that is a real escapism, because you're not trying. People are dying around you. You're not worried about that. You are trying to enjoy as much as you can while living in this world without just being ignorant. So that is actually true escapism, isn't it? Do you see that? Anybody? Actually trying to enjoy in this world with ignoring the spiritual dimension of life, irrespective of seeing all the problems of this world and temporariness of everything around us. If we still try to pursue only material pursuits and material enjoyments, that is actually trying to escape from the true reality of life, isn't it? Agree or not?
Yes,
Yes,
Prabhu.
correct.
So not following spirituality is actually escapism. Do you all agree or have any doubts?
That's true, really true.
Yeah.
Yes.
So we actually counterattack them, saying, because that's the truth. But some devotees, they get confused when they get this kind of question. So based on this discussion, we understand we are not this body. We are spirit soul. We have parodharma and swadharma, both. But swadharma is only meant to help us. It's not the primary thing in our life. So just focusing on material dimension of life, material aspect of our life, is actually escaping our true duties.
Yeah, they are escaping from real duties. Yeah.
Yeah, somebody asked Srila Prabhupada, what Prabhupada, if at the end of life you realize if there is no Krishna, what will you do?
Yeah. Prabhupada answer, we did not miss anything.
Yeah.
We did not lose any enjoyment. We had nice enjoyment of dancing and eating prasad. Yeah.
We had nice association,
Right
nice
association.
sangha, nice friendship, nice kirtans,
Yeah.
nice music, nice
Better than-
food.
Yeah.
So that is the confidence of Prabhupada. Somebody, if of course Prabhupada already answered, so it was easy for us to rephrase that in our words. But if it really shakes confidence. If somebody is not very confident enough, because Prabhupada is so confident about Krishna's existence, he answered like this. He answered saying that. He said all of that, and then he said, the other thing he said is, what if Krishna existed? You lived all your life only on material dimension, and what if Krishna existed at the end of your life? You will be taken to hell. Right? So you actually lost your entire life. You end up in hell. So it's always a better choice in any case, whether Krishna existed or not. Still, you can say, because that is Prabhupada's master of debating skills. Nobody can match. Right? That's it. So this is in summary. I just wanted to give an idea so that we get the summary overview of chapter, and then we can quickly read the verses. 4:37. So it's already 1 hour. We'll do quick review of verses next week. Is that okay? Only I'll focus when we need to discuss something or if somebody has questions. But otherwise, a quick go through of the verses next week. So I hope this gave a good idea of the entire chapter. Just remember, what is the acronym for us to remember?
Gita.
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 The section started with Arjuna's surrender, right? Arjuna surrendered to Krishna. And next section started with Krishna giving the understanding of the identity of what is the real identity, then explanation of dharmas, two dharmas, swadharma and parodharma, and then sthita prajna. So you want to become He-Man or Batman or Spider-Man or Atmaran? What do you want to become? Anybody?
Atmaram.
Sridhar Gopal Prabhu, you have any other ideas?
Prabhu want He-Man.
Perfect answer, yeah. Because Raghunath Prabhu said, right? So whatever he says, perfect.
Any questions?
Prabhuji, because chapter 2 is Gita summarized, right? So does that mean this is the acronym that stands good for the whole of Gita, right? Or
I didn't understand. Can you repeat?
say chapter 2 is the contents of Gita summarized, no, Prabhuji,
Right,
which
right.
covers everything. So is this the acronym which stands good for the whole of Gita? Like, if we can understand and follow this acronym.
Yes, it you can also, yeah, because this is applicable to the entire wisdom of Gita.
Okay.
18th chapter summary says surrender to Gita, right, Prabhuji, at the end.
Yes, surrender to Krishna, the last verses, right?
Yeah.
So ultimately, that's the message. Yeah. So this stands for everyone. Actually, yeah, the two dharmas are in depth discussed again in chapter 15, 16, sorry, 16, 17, 18. Sorry, 16 and 17. And yeah, this stands for everything actually. Any other questions? Anybody else?
Prabhu, chapter 2 is the longest, right?
Yes, 72 verses.
But how come the summary seems to be short?
Summary seems to be short. Oh,
Yeah.
because we didn't discuss verses. I just summarized the content in the way I would like to.
Okay. So, Prabhu, you prepared these slides or it was already some you took from somewhere?
No, I prepared myself actually.
Oh, okay.
You want this or?
Yeah, you can share you can put the slides in OneDrive or Google Drive.
Yeah, I'll keep that. Yeah.
So there would always.
I want to actually make the summary kind of PPTs for all the chapters. That way.
Very good summary, Prabhu. Very good summary, and it really connects to the practical lessons.
Exactly, Prabhu. Very, very practical.
Yeah, so that's the idea. So far,
generally, when we read, we go through in one page reading, okay, what is instruction, everything. But when it comes to practicality, what we are learning out of that is the actual learning, right?
Exactly.
But that this gives the detailed information about what is the actual learning that we need to get out of that.
That's the reason for keeping in this way. Actually, this whole, if you look at preparation for war, most of us miss the practical aspect that we have to focus on the principles than our enjoyment, right?
Yeah.
Signs of victory. We have to see the world with this eyes of the scripture.
Eyes of scripture, yeah.
Krishna arranges everything for our own upliftment. Every circumstance is a perfect arrangement for our purification.
Yeah.
This is the expression of a Dahatma Buddhi, right?
Yeah.
So we don't see that when we don't see the bird's eye view. That's the reason to keep this whole classes actually.
Yeah.
But I
Very
heard lectures, multiple lectures actually to come up to this. It's not.
But that shows your level of in-depth understanding, Prabhuji.
No, Prabhu. I'm still.
Hari.
Yeah, it's actually it's a good takeaway for us, Prabhuji. You have done all the research and.
If we learn Bhagavad Gita this way, connecting, we can easily remember.
Correct.
Exactly. Yeah.
We can easily remember.
It's all because we have already wonderful teachers available like Radheshyam Prabhu and we're just taking from them.
Yeah.
And also this is a good format that we can even tell others. If we
Yeah.
have to give a
It's easy to
quick
prepare.
summary of it, that's very
It's
helpful.
very easy to prepare. Anybody can, quickly, some of us can actually do this 18 class Bhagavad Gita overview.
Yeah.
If you are interested, we can discuss that later.
Yes, Prabhuji, yeah.
But because many people don't have time to go through the entire book, right? Sitting down for 2 years and do.
And this
And in fact, they lose track of what, the practical lessons and many things actually.
Prabhu, this summary is really good for book distribution.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can take each and every slide, even if you tell 1 or 2 slides, by showing the pictures in Bhagavad Gita book, that's sufficient.
Yeah. Okay. So we'll end here. If you have no other questions.
Yeah, thank you, Prabhuji.
Yeah. Thank you, Prabhu.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Hare
Thank
Krishna.
you.
Thank
Hare
you,
Krishna.
Prabhuji.